We're learning Zili Nishmas at Bava Basra Maseches Bava Basra Perik Aleph Mishna Gimel. Hamakev eskaverim misholish ruchoisov. If one person owns an inner field and a second person is makif, he surrounds him on all sides. The godar is harishona ves hashniya ves hashlishis, and he makes 3 walls around the inner field, meaning the outer person makes 3 walls separating him and the inner field. We're not mechayiv the person of the inner field to pay for it because it doesn't help him, because animals could still enter from that 4th side. It's meduyik that if 4 walls were built, then the 4th person, then the inner person is nana, and he would have to pay. Rabbi Yosi says, if he gets up and he builds the 4th wall, he has to pay for everything, which sounds like the diak that we just said in the Tanakama. So the Gemara says, what's the nafkamina between the Tanakh and Rabbi Yosi? The Gemara says 4 pshatim. Either the Tanakama held that when the 4th wall is built, he has to pay, but only the minimum amount that you need for a wall, bezul. Mashenkin Rabbi Yosi holds that you have to reimburse the expenses of whatever was actually built in this wall, the full price. The second pshat in the Gemara is that the Tanakama held that you don't have to pay for a wall. All you have to pay is however much hana you had, which was, let's say, if you had a Shloimie there during certain times of the year, you would have to reimburse for that, but you don't have to actually pay for the wall. It's only Rabbi Yosi that says Megavel Anos Hakol, you have to pay for the wall. The third pshat in the Gemara is that the Tanakama holds that you have to pay for the 4th wall, but Rabbi Yosi says Megavel Anos Hakol, that you now have to pay for walls 1, 2, 4. You have to pay for all the walls now. And the final pshat in the Gemara, the 4th pshat, is that they're arguing about whether it's dafka, if it's oman nikif, if the guy in the middle builds it, then he has to pay, or if it's even if the guy in the outer guy builds the wall because he's happy with that, so maybe he has to pay for that also. And this two lashonos, which one the Tanakama holds and which one Rabbi Yosi holds. Mishna Daled Kaisel Chatzer Shenafal Mechayven Oisel of Noisei Ad Arba Amis. The amount that the wall separating between the 2 chatzeris is 4 ames, and therefore if it falls, you only have to build it back up to 4 ames. That's one halacha. And the second halacha of this Mishnah is that b'cheskas shanashan ad sheyavi raya shaloi nasan. Since you're mechuyev to pay for it, if he claims he had already reimbursement for rebuilding that wall, then we assume he's right that Itaka did so because it's a pashat azach that he had to pay for that thing. This is going back to the first part that we said you only have to build up until 4 amas. If it's more than 4 amas, then you don't have to build. The Sefer of the Mishnah now says, let's say one of them puts a parallel wall to this wall, so it's mevur that he's nicha with the building of this middle wall, even though he didn't put the ticker on it. So you see that he's happy for it to be higher or longer, and therefore he would have to pay for it. But over here, the second halacha wouldn't be true. Over here, we don't assume that he paid for it, because this chiyuv is not a pashat chiyuv that you have to pay, like we had up until 4 amas in the Reisha of the Mishnah. Over here, it's halacha that you have to pay, because it's mevur that he's nicha with such a thing. But since the din is not so pasha, you would have to bring him to Bezdin in order to pay. And therefore, if he claims that he didn't pay, the other person claims that he didn't pay, then it's becheskas that he did not pay until we have a raya that he did pay.